Okay, let me go shut the door because I can hear Neil Diamond coming up the stairway. This is real. All right. Okay. Good morning. It is Wednesday, December 20. I don't know why I keep saying December and there's no edit button. Good morning. This is actually Wednesday, March the 25th, and I've put my emails down. 2020. It only seems like we've aged a year and a week. And this is the Cornerstones live feed for today. I'm Linda Pearl, and I own onequiltingcircle.com, and I'm delighted to have you here with me today. I have a confession to make to start with. It got old yesterday. It might have been the 6 inches of heavy, wet snow we got when we woke up. It might have been the fact that we had no power when I woke up, and therefore no coffee. But I think what really tipped it over for me was the fact that we own a generator, and my husband was very efficiently getting himself around and getting himself organized and went out there, and I'm like, I completely forgot that we own a generator. And I'm thinking, okay, this might be the beginning of senility, mental illness, cabin fever, or just my needing to get a good night's sleep. So, which is exactly what I did last night. I put myself to sleep early last night because it was desperately overneeded, and I also went back to bed this morning. So, here we are. It is once again, oh, and by the way, we had power by 7:30, so it wasn't a long calamity. It just kind of threw the day off, and then from there, it's catch 22. When I look back on it, I think one of the things that really tipped me over is I have not been practicing what I preached. I have not been stitching for me. I've had a few deadlines that have come, and most of the time I've hit them. But it has been a little bit of a challenging environment for me. And I think going forward, I'm going to be a little bit more, oh, I've got somebody else on here. I'm going to be a little bit more, hey, Rosemary, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining in. Hi. Okay, apparently if I hit this button, I wave at you. Oh, I waved. Okay, we're figuring this out as I go. So that kind of threw me for a loop, and I'm a work in progress. I hope you'll appreciate the fact that the video this week is actually, should be right side up. I'm hoping it is. The camera is wedged, maybe nudged. Rube Goldberg comes into mind, but it's pretty much, if I breathe on it wrong, it's going to go wrong. But hopefully I'm more or less straight, up and running. I apologize. I didn't realize that was going to happen last week. I do remember saying that last week was a benchmark, and from there forward would go better. And hopefully this is something that I will continue to get better at it. So we'll go from there. So what's going on? Apparently, we're in this for a haul. I'm seeing more deferrals as far as events goes. Thanks, Rosemary. I'm seeing, I did get a notification from MQX last week on Sunday, which I got to give them props. I did not think we would hear from them as soon as we did. They are proceeding with 2021 show plans. They don't yet have a date, but they have assured us that their intention is to put together as good a show as they had going on for this year, and that we can expect to hear from them sooner rather than later in terms of what their plans are. And of course, that's all going to be dependent upon when any of us can make plans. So that's a very positive thing. Tuition will roll over for next year's events, so I don't have to worry about signing up for events. I've already got a seat in the class. I'm good. And I'm really excited about that because it's such a wonderful show. And the more I go in my quilting journey, the more comfortable I feel taking classes. So that's interesting. I did make notes. The Spring into Summer Shop Hop, which is a shop hop that is 5 shops here in southern New Hampshire, originally scheduled for the weekend of April 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, because I was going to work on that, has been deferred to the end of May. Yeah, the end of May. So you can go on their site and see what they're doing as far as that goes. I think we can pretty much assume that most anything else going on has been deferred at this point. So, hey Sal, because of that fact, and because updating the calendar becomes a much bigger process than I expected, and because my marketing clients have needed more of my time, because obviously we're all trying to adjust to the new normal, that didn't happen. You have my apologies. I had the best of intentions. It just didn't happen. Part of that is the next thing I want to talk about, which is something that is very, what's the word I want to use? Very characteristic of the quilting community. And one of the reasons I love the fact that I have a job that allows me to do this. The quilting community are some of the most caring, wonderful, generous people you will ever meet. And just after last week's email, or last week's live feed went out, we started getting notifications and calls for masks to take the place of supplies that apparently are in short supply at this point, and the demand, hey Ann, is going to be for a while. And we latched onto that, and we took that and we ran with it, and I have seen more mask emails, demos, videos, tutorials, commentary than I would ever have expected a week ago. I made a call based on the fact that I live in southern New Hampshire, and I think that any effort like this that's grassroots is best handled at the local level. So I contacted my local hospital. It's the hospital where my sons were born. It's also the hospital where I have a nurse that lives 2 doors down, so I figured I could get an answer in terms of what they wanted. Was there a need? And I figured if there was, great, I'd fulfill it, and if it wasn't a need, I'd move the circle out from there. They said yes, that there was, and that they would get back to me with a pattern, and that they would let us know, because I had additional questions, such as how do we make it so that they can get the stuff dropped off, because the hospital that I'm talking about is Southern New Hampshire, and they are no longer allowing visitors. If you're having a baby at Southern New Hampshire, your partner isn't able to come there right now. Hey, Lois. And that's one of the concerns I had is how can we get them to them? Was there a drop-off point? Was there somebody to ship to? How did we do it? And did they have an approved or preferred mask pattern? I got one. I took a look at it. It involved elastic, and elastic is one of the supplies that a week ago I would never have seen this one coming, but apparently we can't get 1/4 inch elastic. It's because we're all making masks, and therefore the supply has evaporated, and we're running a little bit of a black market over here. Hey, I got 144 yards. Hey, can I buy 10? Type of a thing. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Barb Griffey. So that's problem number one, is if they are asking for a mask, what are they looking for it on? One of the other issues is that they're saying that they wanted, I've seen some masks say that they wanted a piece of metal up here for the nose, because that was going to provide a better seal, which is obviously what you're doing a mask for. And they referenced an 18 gauge wire. I don't speak wire. I didn't know how big that was. I didn't know what that was. So I went back and went surfing through emails, and I went back to them and said, "Can we use pipe cleaners?" They're like, "Yeah, sure, pipe cleaners are fine." I'm like, "Okay, well, if you had put pipe cleaners in the pattern, that would have been easier, but you've got other things going on." Um, and I tried putting their pattern, the pattern that was sent to me, tried putting it together last night in an attempt to make something to show you guys. And part of the problem was, or the specifications of the pattern I had been given caused, they wanted a place to put a filter. Okay, that's my theory is if this is what you're telling me, this is what I'm going to do to the letter of what I can do. But I can't get elastic. Can we use straps? Yes, we can use straps. Um, when I went back and double checked, they had actually published on their webpage, which I think is a huge benefit. They had put a pattern that they wanted, which allows for a mask filter. It is not the pattern that I had, and I can say thank heaven for that because I made a prototype of that last night, and it's much easier to work with. I can tell you that my original plan for this is I'm going to put this on a web page on my website, which is onequiltingcircle.com. And one of the things for this week is to figure out how to insert that into the video Facebook feeds, and hadn't done that yet. Hey, Patty. Nice to see you. So what I had done is while I'm waiting for this, I'm like getting anxious and how do I help, and I feel like I'm wasting time and all the other stuff. So let me tell you, before I show you the mask things, let me tell you what I did. I put together a bin. I went through my scraps and I found a home for this project. And what I did is to take fabric that could easily be donated for a project like this. And since I have to wash it anyway, because quilting fabric has chemicals from the factory, it also has sizing on it. You don't want to have it shrink. Hey, Joan. So it has to be washed. And it's also not meant to be held up to your nose like this. And I didn't want to inadvertently cause any issues with that kind of contact with it. So my feeling very strongly was that this needed to be something that was washed. So I put the bin together, I took it down, I washed it, dried it. That meant it all had to be ironed. There went Saturday night. Exciting doings here in southern New Hampshire. I took out the pattern, I looked at it, kind of looked at what it did, started reaching out to the Girl Squad and found where I have elastic coming. And I started by making a mask that we've seen, many of us have seen going around the CD. This is the Missouri Star Quilt Company version of the CDC mask. And so I made this as a prototype. It works if you're going to the grocery store. It works if you're trying not to have yourself touch your face. If you're wondering how I wound up with one that has hammers and nails, it's because that's the one I picked up off my table to test the fit and realized that that was it. So this is mine for the short term. I'll be playing around with different things later. Last night, when I went to the Southern New Hampshire website and found a different pattern, it's actually much easier to make and it's much more scalable. It has 5 seams in it. It does require elastics, and my elastic supply is coming on, so I'm going to pretty much be pre-cutting these projects out. It actually also comes in 2 sizes. This is the woman's size to kind of figure out. There is no metal here, but because I don't have elastics and I needed to test the fit, I put straps in it. So you can kind of tweak it a little bit. To my way of thinking, for my face, I'm going to try the male version of the pattern, which is also available off their website, because to my way of thinking, this is not comfortable because it sort of hits my chin line right around here, and I don't know how I'd want to wear it on a regular basis. So, but it is much easier. There's no wire involved in this. It has a pocket in it to put a filter so that they can eventually put their charcoal filter or whatever kind of filters the hospital's going to want. So that's what Southern New Hampshire is telling us that they want at this point in time. I think it's important to realize that that's at this point in time, and it's entirely possible that we're going to find that over time things are going to change. I've also seen an awful lot of people making masks, assuming that they're going to be used where they're going to send them. And one of the things that I have found is that some of the larger hospitals are not accepting homemade masks. And that is an issue. Brigham and Women's Hospital is one of the things that I saw this morning on the news that said that they were no longer accepting homemade masks. And I believe there's a major medical center up in Maine, I can't find the name of it right now, that isn't accepting it as well. So I go back to source locally because they're your neighbors and they need our help. I think it's a wonderful thing to do. But I'm a huge believer in I don't want to create a bottleneck or a problem in an institution that's very quickly going to be stretched to the brim. So when I post the link up on my page later on today, and I'll throw the link on my Facebook page because this is how you're all finding me. It's going to be referencing the Southern New Hampshire pattern, and it's also going to be date stamped, and I will check in with them periodically to make sure that this is what they want. In terms of delivery, Southern New Hampshire is telling us that we can drop them off in the emergency room, I believe between 8 and 4, and that eliminates that issue. I kind of would like to see a mailing address, and I'm going to continue to work that with them because I think that would make it easier for all of us as we go through this. That is what I have to say with masks. One of the other things is if you have if you've made masks and they're not accepting them for whatever, there are other EMTs, dentists, veterinarians. They might be a little bit more open to taking a donation for a homemade mask because that would then free up their supply to move it up the chain into the hospitals where they need it. But that's something that is going to change as things go on. And I just want to see us be smart and efficient with our time because this is a source of pleasure for us. It's also feeding the need that we all have at these days that we're doing something. And it's the doing something that is going to get us through this. And I also believe it's something that you're going to have to, this is marathon. This is not going to be over in a week or 2 weeks or by Easter or anything else. This is going to be a long-term need until the demand is met by the supply. So we're going to do that. In terms of if they have a HEPA filter in it, I'm just seeing a question there. It's going to be dependent upon where you're sourcing to, and that's why pick somebody that you're going to make masks for, find out what they need and meet that need. That's the best thing. One of the things I saw on somebody's Facebook page was, if we don't have elastics, can we use ties, which is going very old school. And somebody made the comment that if we did that they were sure that they would have somebody there that would untie and untangle the laundry. That's an assumption I'm not comfortable making. I would rather give them what they're wanting and let them modify it as we go forward. The other thing is that be aware that most of the places that you're donating to will in fact launder and sanitize them before they're giving out to their workers. So that's the other thing to work on. So it's a situation and a news story that's taken over the scenario. I've seen quilt shops. I've seen Joann's put together kits that basically drive up curbside delivery. You call Joann's, you place, supposedly, I have not tested this, but if you call, because I don't need fabric, but if you were to call Joann's and you needed to, you wanted to order a mask kit, you could pay for it, and then they would deliver it to your car, so you don't have to go in the store. So that's another way that people are finding ways to meet the need that we're doing here. So that's pretty much what I have to say at this point in time today about masks. I don't have elastic. I have several people sourcing them for me. Thank you all very much. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be pre-cutting mine and assembly line sewing them, and as far as I can. And then when, hey Sue, when they come in, we'll get them going. Well, I'll get them, and I'll get them over to Southern New Hampshire. People are already sewing for them because they already have what they need for that. So that's kind of where we're going. So if you have a question about a mask, please ask it. We can all learn from it. I have found on this page and on this thread that people have generally been respectful, and that's awesome. Because I think kindness, who knew that I was ahead of the curve with Spark last year? I think that kindness is something that we can never have enough of and can all show to everybody. So that's what's going on here. What else has been going on this week? Well, I was in a blog hop to celebrate National Quilting Day, and I hope that we all got a chance to go out and do something with pattern and color and fun stuff. This was something put together by one of the former Island Batik ambassadors. It was called the Quilt Crazy Queens, and that's all with Q's. Let's Have a Laugh blog hop. And I said in my blog post that she was a genius because nobody could have seen this coming. But, so this is the project that I made, and it's probably going to show up reversed on your camera. Sorry about that. But I took a pillowcase, which we've all made. Burrito style pillowcase is really fun. Really easy to be able to do. I have some Quilt Diva fabric. I will buy fabric anywhere from anything if it moves me. And this particular one, I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. So I took this and paired it with a wonky stripe because why not? And then I went to my Cricut, which the Cricut tutorial is next week, not this week. It just isn't going to happen. But this is putting words on the cuff, and you can do that to personalize it. You can do it to you can do it with a Cricut or hand lettering. That's easy. But basically, anytime you have a pillowcase that you're going to do, you can make it a secret word. You can make it a nickname. You can make it something. Hey Jan, my next door neighbor just popped in. She's homeschooling, and I have not realized just how much is involved when you're homeschooling a team of third graders. So that was awesome. I've learned a lot from Jan this week. So this is the project that I put up on my blog post, which is if you go to One Quilting Circle and go to the blog page, this is this week's entry. It's very customizable. I've got prototypes coming that are, you could make a Christmas themed one and put words like believe or magic or, you could, if you had a bunch of cousins on a sleepover, make them with all the names of the reindeer. I mean, your imagination is your source of inspiration, and you can do anything with this. And this is now, when I come to my retreat next year, this is going to come with me, and this will be on my bed so that I will sleep, I will dream, and I will quilt while I'm there. So that was my contribution to it. My humor is much drier, and I had a hard idea coming up with the project, and this was something I was working on Sunday. My project was due Monday. Yes, it happens to me. Hey, Shar. The other part of the wine group has popped in here, so doing that. So that's on my blog post for this week, to be able to do it. And this is just one of the things that I do with my Cricut and my Quilt Shop quality fabric. So there will be more tutorials coming with it. It just, things, I lost a week. I'm not exactly sure where it went with all this extra time. The other thing I have been doing is trying to get out of my box, my sewing room, which is glorious and I love, but sometimes you just need a physical change of space. On Sunday, I was stupidly thinking spring was coming and we'd be able to get outside and, enjoy the screen porch, but apparently not. But this is something I'm working on, which is handwork. Yep, I have handwork. This is a panel that is based off of Kathy Wiggins' work. Kathy is renowned and does a lot of work with leather, and she has taken in doing some designs for a company that I know called Global Artisans Designs, and has transferred her designs into a pre-printed panel, and you get the panel and you get the thread colors that Kathy has curated for this. I have loved this since I first saw it, and so I have dug that out. And there are times I get down, sit in the living room with my husband. I've met him again. He's kind of a cool guy. And doing some handwork on that just because I need a change of pace at sometimes, and I need to step away from the sewing machine. There'll be a link to the Global Artisans item in the bottom of the blog post if you want. What else is going on? That's kind of it. I have solved the problem. I shocked the heck out of my son the other day. I actually called him on a video chat, and he's like, "Why are you doing this?" This is because I want to talk to my grandkids, who live two towns over. So I have worked with them. And so I've gotten to do this, and I was amazed that even the 10-month-old seemed to recognize that it was Nana in the phone. So this is kind of something we need to participate in. That's pretty much what I have for today. I have a couple things that are coming out next week, and I will be happy to share and let you know about them. Cornerstones, the hard copy newsletter, will be coming out for April 1st. What the hell? Let's put that date in the thing and mark it and see if I can get with it. It's a little more challenging in this environment, but we're going for that. So, for you guys, I would like to know how I can help you. Are you stuck on an idea? Are you stuck on a technique? Are you just, I can't pick something up, I'm just too anxious? I have an idea for that one. Last week's video was a little bit more towards the vendor business side, and today I'm trying to tweak it more to the creative side of it. Marie Bostwick is is an author that many of us know and love. She has done the Elm Creek Quilt series. She has done a number of series, and she is actually reading her newest book online. The publisher has given her permission to do that, and so she's actually doing a read aloud every day. And I found that very relaxing. I had forgotten how much I enjoyed her books, and I want to go back, and I actually want to go to the screen porch with some wine and her old books, but I'd freeze. But that's another option, to listen to Marie read some books. There are books online. There are a number of different resources that are out there to help you do them. I don't sing, and I'm not writing at the moment, so I can't serenade you. I can't do anything that way. But I did want to just sort of encourage you all. Video chats online, kind of just reaching out and keeping the community together as much as we can. Meeting new people, either walking around your neighborhood or, finding people. There are a lot of ways to be able to stay connected. And I think that we need to work on that so that we don't become isolated too much in our own environments. That's pretty much what I have today. Next week will probably be a little bit more in depth because I'm going to play with camera angles again, God help me. But for today, this is Linda Pearl from Cornerstones, from One Quilting Circle. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming in. If you're making a mask, I'm the daughter and the granddaughter of a nurse, and I very much appreciate your efforts. And I hope you all stay safe. I hope you'll stay well. And I will talk to you next week. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.